Alrighty folks, this is Lurch from Airline Gaming and welcome to my 1.947 patch update rundown. Now most of this stuff I have covered before, so I'm going to run through most of the list pretty quickly. There's a lovely list, full changelog on the forums, and I'll post a link to that in the description, and it will also be running down your screen at some point during the video. Now let's get started. The first thing you can do, and my first and foremost and most beautiful change ever, is you can pause the game at any time by pressing F11 and you can still move and look around, and that is on display right now. Next up, we have the stairs block has been added. Hooray! Another one, Dangerous Waters World War II RTS Planet, is in the built-in planets folder and ready for version 0 testing. You don't need to go and download it anymore, it is there as part of the game. Now, a whole host of multiplayer changes. We have Replace Block now works, Prefab now works, Sub-Objects now work, Weapon Control is better, Client Movement is controlled client side and is now lag-free, Resource Dump levels are now controlled by the server and synchronized, Retrofitting is enabled, and the build bar and favourites list now works in multiplayer. So many awesome changes there. Another improvement is we have wheels controllable by piggybacking onto the water mode or air mode propulsion, so that means we can build tanks with proper controllable wheels. Resource zone resource growth rate is now constant again rather than increasing when the zone is empty, so there's no more spamming of resource gatherers, but now it is more intuitive and it's a lot more consistent. Another change is ammo routers no longer are required for the APS system. The advanced cannons don't need an ammo router on the turret, and this makes smaller ones more effective. We have the bomb chute added for the Cram cannon, that is on my new Xena thrustercraft you might have seen a few days ago. There is a significant improvement in the FPS on the map. A new sound manager system has been added which has nice effects and models the speed of sound. Land should no longer disappear from beneath the player or vehicles. Fleet rotation speeds now properly calculated and applied. Tooltips enabled for enemy vehicles in the fleet control UI. Close-in weapon support or weapon system, the CWIS. AI weapon controller has been added for firing turreted APS at missiles, and I did a video on this a few days ago. We have raw resource storage containers now store 2,000 resources per meter cubed instead of 10k, but you can still change that. The game config sliders for resource storage and overall damage scaling have been added too. Prefabs and sub-objects are now stored in individual files. This was the reason for the prefab wipe, and I did post a little PSA on how to rescue your old turrets and prefabs if you lost them. But it's now much easier to share prefabs and sub-objects because they're stored in individual files, which is really cool and it's more future-proofed. There are now new control options added to the ACB. There is mod support, and I don't really need to talk about that, I've covered a bit of that before, it's really exciting, and there's already a bunch of cool mods out there, go and check out the forums. The way sails are placed has changed a little bit, so they may well now be broken, sorry about that. There's a new hand-holding tutorial system added to lead you through the tutorial resources available, and this is great for new players. It's on the main menu, check it out, even more advanced players might learn a few things. The laser damage is now increased to 10 kilometers instead of just 3 kilometers. Now that's a really good change. Bear in mind that the damage fall off is exactly the same, it hasn't changed. So it will still do the same damage as it previously did at 3 kilometers. Event outcome likelihood is now customizable in the map editor. I have no idea what that means. Several new player skills and buffs have been added, structure in place for more in the future, and the current new skills that work are gunnery, sea captain, gunsmith, salvo, batteries, naval engineering, aerial engineering, and astro engineering. Whole bunch of new things, check them out in the Z menu. Missile drag decreased from 100% at altitude 0 to 50% at altitude 300, and then 0% at altitude 500. Ability to turn using fins decreased from 100% at 300 to 10% at 500. Oh, so many changes. These are all drag changes to the missiles, and we'll have a big change on aerial combat. There are also changes to the vehicle drag. It's been reduced from 100% at 300 meters to 10% at 500 meters, where air density reaches 0. The projectile follow camera is now an orbital view of the projectile/missile instead of the old stuck behind it view. It looks really awesome. Control block can now force all weapons types to fire, which is really great. The local weapon controller shots per second limit is now 40 instead of 2, which is a big upgrade for anyone who likes to tweak them. Vehicle-on-vehicle collision bugs have been ironed out, so that should improve them a little bit. When you give orders to your vehicles, they will sort of speak back to you. There are 4 personalities associated with the 4 modes: water, air, land, and all. And they sound absolutely great. They're a really nice sort of audio feedback improvement. Really, really cool. There has been a bug fix regarding fog of war view distance for dead blueprints. Missile explosive damage is doubled from 200 to 400 per warhead, which is a really nice buff for the missiles. AI fleet and resource zone bindings added to Lua. The Lua editor will now select all code when Control A is pressed, which is great. Inventory, fleet control and map UI declutter, which is also absolutely great, and it helps sort of clear that up a bit. Support added for land units and all-terrain vehicles as forces and fleets. You no longer need a patrol AI card to give you orders to the AI, so the card is now obsolete, which is a nice change. User interface for fleets and forces simplified and unified a lot, and you can no longer have a fleet without a flagship. One will always be assigned. Now those last few changes go a long way in clearing up the UI and the E and the M menus, which is really great. You get a little bit more of your screen real estate back. Volume is used now instead of a block count in a number of places throughout the game, and just bear in mind though, the block count is still the biggest effect on game performance, so don't neglect building your beams. Resource supply distance is based on the force's resource storage capacity. This makes big cargo containers much more effective at dishing out resources than smaller ships, although I haven't tried this yet, so I'm not sure exactly how it pays off. There is now an option in the V menu to disable the removal of water effects due to air pumps, and this gets rid of the water transparency effect. Now this is an interesting one. The APS autoloaders now have a bonus to reload speed for the larger variants, which is roughly 40% of the previous size. This makes larger 2m, 4m and 8m autoloaders more effective because they have a buff to their reload speed, and it will give them a DPS bonus when you're using larger shells. You will find cannons shooting very large shells to have a little bit of a better fire rate. Now finally, the Rambot avatar can now cling to his vehicles, which is the default movement mode. Press the backslash to change mode, double tap space to release from a vehicle. And that leads us on to the next, final and sad change. Something I will leave you with here. Scuttlebot is now no more. We will leave him away with a Viking funeral and probably blow him up with a cram cannon. I do hope you enjoyed the episode. Any likes, subs or comments are really, really awesome. I love hearing from you guys and I read every single comment. As always, take it handy and have a bloody good day.